So, question for you. Have you been hurt by the church? Or maybe you know someone that has been hurt by the church. And today that's what we want to talk about. Because what we have experienced ourselves is working with different people that have been hurt by the church. And we know there's a lot of people out there. And so we want to talk to you guys about that and help you navigate those type of situations. Something to always keep in mind too is that people are not perfect. Now, I'm not saying that to dismiss the feelings of anyone, but that's something to keep in mind. And I think also we hold the church to a higher standard to be able to do things that will help us in a way that is beneficial and not hurt us. And so that also kind of makes it a bit difficult for us too. So RJ, talk to us.
Yeah, so we understand how important and sensitive this topic is, and that's why, Calvin and I, we wanted to discuss this in our podcast today. So for me personally, I mean, this is very, motivational for me to speak about, because literally just last week, like a young woman just came up to my wife and I just last week, seeking counseling about being hurt by the church. And in the past couple of years, we've had, I'm not saying few, but many people came up to us about this and asking counseling. So we truly understand this. So let's get right in. So Cal, you did some research. Talk to us a little bit about the research that you did.
So I did some research. There was like a 10-year study that was going on. It actually just ended last year in 2022. And it's crazy because it actually has some quotes in there from people that were hurt by the church. Here's what some of them said. One person said, "I would rather spend time on my own than to try to carve out a place in the ice." In other words, what they were saying is the place that should feel warm, right, aka the church, feels so cold. And because it feels so cold, that's why I rather, be on my own and spend my own time than to try to carve out a place in the ice.
Exactly.
That was one of them. And I was like, man, when you think about that, like, why is the church so cold? Why can't it be so cold? Right. And I think it just comes down to people, right? The people that are in charge, they can be very cold, and we put a lot of trust in them.
That's right.
And first and foremost, I want to say, look, put your trust in Jesus. Put your trust in Jesus Christ. That's the biggest thing. And don't get me wrong, you want to build relationships. That's what it's all about. Relationships in the church, in your life, period. That was one of them. Another person said, "No one seems really happy there. It's like they have to be there or something."
They just have to be there,
Yeah, and to be honest, in my experience in going to different churches and speaking and things like that, and I have definitely seen like what people are saying when it comes to that.
Of course.
It's like, you're supposed to be a Christian, but you look like you ain't even Christian. Like, I know some people in the world that's happier than you.
Right.
And that's the thing, man. When Christ is in the life, it should be displayed on the outside.
That's right. Absolutely true. Yeah.
Some other ones. Some other ones was, someone said, "I was very young at the time and unsure of myself and what direction I wanted for my life. The church where I was a member didn't feel right. The people were very cold and aloof, not just toward other members, but toward some guests as well." Now, maybe you're a pastor that's watching this, or maybe you're a leader in the church that's watching this. If you are, like, these are things you should take into account. Like, pay attention to the members in the church, pay attention to people that are greeting people. How do they act? Whatever the greeters or ushers, whoever they may be, like, that's important, because whenever, like, I look at business, if you look at the top thriving businesses, they always have nice people. Like, even if you look at, like, sports events, right, or like things that happen in the sports realm, like, I know boxing is one of them. If you see those people that are holding up the signs for like the next round, they're always smiling. It's actually part of their contract. I know with NBA players, the cheerleaders, they have to smile. Right. It's part of like their requirement. They're happy people. People want to talk to happy people. Right. And so I think that's something to also keep in mind too.
But like you said, though, if Christ is in the heart, that should come out
it's
naturally.
Automatic. It
should
should
be.
What
I'm saying? It should be automatic. So definitely just wanted to point that out. Yep.
Yeah. Another thing, because these are all different things. One person said, "Nothing for my age. A lack of activities, and it's boring. You know what this does for people? It makes them feel that the church is irrelevant. There's no purpose. Why should I go to church?
That's right.
There's no purpose. It's irrelevant.
Right.
It's a waste of my time. Because I'm trying to find a place to go, but there's nothing for me to do.
Right.
So here's the thing. I work with youth, young adults, young people all the time. And one thing that I did was create opportunities for them to be able to have a place to go that was not only safe, but also a place to enjoy. Because like a lot of young people are leaving the church because there's nothing for them to do in the church.
Right.
Or the church is more concerned about correction.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with correction. But always remember this. You need to connect before you correct.
That's right.
But so many people in the church are concerned with correct before you connect.
That's so true.
But you have to connect before you connect.
Absolutely.
So a lot of people feel like, man, this isn't any comfortability.
Right.
I don't even want to be here.
There's no connection, like you were saying. You know, there's no relationship. It's not a relationship-focused church, but it's more so activities-focused church. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to get things done. Formalism. Events and things like that. But then church is literally, when you look at the word church in the Bible, it's not talking about buildings. It talks about people. That's what the church is. It's a body of people.
Yeah.
So
don't let that building make you forget you're supposed to be a body of people.
Exactly. So for us, we need to focus more on people and relationship and connection rather than other things and formalisms and things of that nature. So good point.
Yeah.
I like that.
Some more things that people said. I feel cut off, lonely, and estranged due to the lack of people being their age. Now, this is something that's probably in every church around America for sure, where young people are just like leaving the church. Why do you think it is that young people are leaving the church?
One thing for me is they don't see enough power in the church. For me, it's like, you know, I'm in the world, right? I came from the world. But then I go walk in the church, and I go in the church and I see the same exact things that are going on outside of the church. So it's like, why even pretend and go to church and do these things when I could just do this outside fully, 100% outside, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, what the church, what people need is they need power. They need like real life practical application of the gospel. Not just mere professing it, but really acting out and demonstrating it. Like you said, practicality, people smiling, people really kind, that really bursts out from a relationship with Christ. It's not fake, because people can see fake things.
Oh, for sure.
And then when they see, like, for example, when they see the world, they see Stephen Curry shooting 3 points. I mean, like 5 feet behind the 3-point line. What is that? Power. You see what I'm saying? They see that, they're drawn to that, and then when they come into the church, I'm like, they see a lot of hypocrisy, they see a lot of these things happening. It's like, why? Why would I go into that, right? So that's one thing that I personally feel like, as a youth myself, if I don't see enough power in the church, enough kindness, enough, being like Christ, why would I want to be in there? I'd rather just be outside and do whatever I want to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's one point.
I want to comment on hypocrisy, because you just mentioned about hypocrisy.
Sure.
Something to keep in mind, there's hypocrites everywhere you go.
That's true.
I seen a hypocrite in Walmart.
That's right.
Right? Like, there's hypocrites wherever you go. Walmart, Target, whatever restaurant you like to go to, there's hypocrites in there.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But the church does get a lot of heat for those type of things.
For sure.
Now, it's also because we have an expectation that the church should be at a higher standard.
That's right.
Which you're not wrong to have that expectation.
Right.
That's the point.
Of course.
Is to be different, right? That's what the Bible says. We're a peculiar people, a chosen generation, right?
That's right.
So that is important, that you do have that, that distinguished part of you in the church.
Absolutely. Piggyback on that is, I heard this before, but they said, people that say I left the church because of the hypocrites in the church, it's like saying, I don't want to go to the gym anymore because there's unfit people in the gym. You get what I'm saying? It's like, it doesn't, like, we're going to church to get fit. There's a lot of unholy people, a lot of broken people. That's why we're going to church, to get healing.
Yeah.
right? And so therefore you will find a lot of hypocrisy. You'll find a lot of people that are not like Christ, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're there for. Like
Yeah.
another saying is, the church is a healing. It's like a hospital for sinners.
Yeah.
Right? It's a hospital for sinners. That we go there and we try to get healed, and that's the case, right? So just wanted to bring that point out too as well.
Yeah, I think something else to add on to the hospital analogy is that when you go to the church, there's a bunch of sick people there.
That's right.
That's what it's for. It's a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
It's people there. So try not to set your expectation too high.
That's right.
And I get it. Leadership is in their position for the reason they are, but they're also human.
That's right.
That's not to dismiss anything.
No.
But that's to take into consideration that they're not going to be perfect.
Exactly. And we'll talk
Yeah.
highly on that too as well soon. Mhm.
Yeah.
But what else you got, Cal?
So some people said, there is so much I want to know about God, but I never find any of it at church. The sermons are too shallow, and I wasn't getting any deep food. I've been in the church all my life, and most of this stuff is superficial.
For me, the way I would do it is, the problem is, the reason why pastors cannot relate to the body of people that they're preaching to is because they're not visiting them.
They're not spending enough
They're
time
not
with them.
spending enough time
Yep.
with them, right?
Yep.
If you look, for me, what I would do as a pastor, I would go 5 days a week, 6 days a week. I would go visit my church members and ask them, hey, how do you like the church? What are the things that you're going through? What
can we improve on?
What can we improve on?
Yep.
Right? What do you want the church to look like? You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? So when the pastor sees that, and then he's hearing these things, I know exactly what I should preach for the next sermon, because now he related. Now it's practical, because he understands what the church needs and what the church people wants. You know what I'm saying? So that would be a little bit of a solution for me based on that research.
And some of the things that leaders, pastors, you got to keep this in mind. You're not in charge of the church. You're the head,
Right.
but with your congregation, it's a partnership.
That's right.
It's not, oh, I'm the guy, right? God has just used you in a position to be able to lead the people.
Right.
So you're not a boss. You're just a leader.
That
So
God has chosen.
unite with the people.
That's right.
And be able to give them different things that they're asking for. And I know, like, for myself, like, I've worked with young people literally across the world. It's crazy. And I would always ask different people, like, hey, what would you like to see improve? What adjustments would you like to see?
Right.
And then that makes people feel like they're part of
Part of it.
is going on.
That's right.
Which they should be.
They should be.
Right? There should be a sense of ownership from the people as well, that, man, I can come to my church and they hear what I have to say.
True.
So another person said this: I need to hear about Jesus. I need to hear that he loves me. I need to hear someone remind me how he showed me his love.
Brother, we need more of this in our sermons.
Yeah.
We need more of the love of Christ, of what Christ has done for us, fundamentals, right? I feel like we're lacking that in our church. Like, we want to go into, deep things, but what people need is practicality, number one.
Yeah.
Make it practical to me, right? What does that have to do with me? And the love of Christ.
Yeah.
Literally lift it up. The Bible says in John chapter 5, I believe, if I be lifted up, Jesus says, I will draw all men unto me.
Yeah.
So absolutely agree with that, bro. I absolutely agree with that. So.
Yeah, it's huge, man.
Yeah,
because a lot of people,
and that's the gospel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
they just glaze over that.
Yeah.
You need to stop doing this. You need to stop doing that. You need to... Man, are people more compelled to stop doing things out of fear or love?
Exactly.
Love.
Exactly. Love. Absolutely.
So it's like, teach them the love of Christ. And guess what? People that love Jesus, by default, those things will flow with them.
Exactly. That's right.
So, yeah, those are some stats that come from people that have been hurt by the church.
Right.
That's not something that I'm saying myself. Those are individuals publicly coming out, and you can find it on the internet.
Right. So we're talking about hurt by the church, right? And let's kind of understand that a little bit, what hurt by the church means. Like, let's define that, and how does it manifest itself in various ways. So there's a little bit of ways that to understand church hurt, right? One of them, emotional manipulation, right? This may involve guilt tripping, shaming, or fear tactics to control individuals' behaviors or beliefs. All right, so we have a lot of that guilt trip, shaming and stuff like that in the church. Or you're not doing this, you're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, gotta stop that, right? Number 2, spiritual manipulation. Using religious teachings or doctrines to exert control or justify harmful actions. Very important to understand that, right? Isolation, forcing or encouraging individuals to cut ties with friends and family who are not part of some religious group, leading to social emotional isolation, like crazy stuff, right? By the way, bro, there's actually documentaries on this, like literally documentaries about people being hurt by the church. It's all from all over religious denominations and things like that. I mean, like, I watched at least 3 of them, and oh my goodness, bro, the type of like trauma that these things do to people, bro, and we're gonna be talking about that too. But it's just wild, absolutely wild. A lot of them. So another one, of course, is physical abuse. In extreme cases, physical harm may occur within the context of spiritual abuse. This one is big, bro. This one is big. This is the last one I'm gonna give. There's more, but we're just gonna highlight a few things. This last one is sexual abuse. Instances of sexual misconduct or abuse that occurs within religious institutions or by religious leaders. So just wanted to, touch up on that, what church hurt is. But Cal, can you discuss a little bit of why church hurt can be particularly devastating to individuals? Like how, like the trauma that it can, literally hurt people.
One of the reasons people get hurt by the church or the devastation that comes from it is because they're coming to a place to find healing.
That's right. That's true.
So you go to this place and you're trying to find healing, and then the very place that you go to get healed, you get hurt.
Mercy.
Right?
Good point.
It's like you drop your guard, you open up. I'm trying to, heal from this thing. I need someone to help me.
Right.
This is what I need to. I went through this, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom.
Yeah. That's the most hurt part. It's like, man, you go there for healing, but you actually get the opposite of healing, which is trauma, hurt, and stuff like that. It's just like devastating to people.
In fact, speaking of that, I want to share this story, which is another statistic. There was this one girl who was saying, I went to the church and I got pregnant outside of marriage.
Mercy.
And when I went to the church, I was disowned.
Oh.
They kicked me out. They told me that I shouldn't be doing that lifestyle and things like that. Here's the thing. While I don't agree with things that go outside of the Bible, like sexual activity outside of marriage.
Sure.
While I don't agree with that, we have to understand one major thing. And I said it already, and I'm going to say it again. Connect before you correct.
Love that.
It's the biggest thing. And the thing is that person in their most dire time, in need of help, going through a very tough situation, you just correct them first. There's no connection there.
Have mercy.
So then it's like, man,
devastating.
Yeah, it's a
devastating.
blow. It's a serious blow. And that person may be like, you know what? Forget the church.
Right.
Because actually, I came here. I was vulnerable with you guys. I came here. I let you know that I got pregnant outside of marriage.
And then you do that.
And then you come at me and say, oh, you're wrong for that. You shouldn't do that. Let me give you a Bible. Study on that.
Devastating. I mean, the psychological impact that it just do to people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it can turn them wholly from just not the church, but from God. And we'll talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah.
But now, I want to kind of talk about the role of the church, right? Like we talked about these experiences and things happening now. What are kind of the roles of the church? So let's talk about it. Let's first talk about the prevention. Okay. Right? The role of the church and what we can do is to prevent these things, because this is important. Pastoral care and leadership training. We need to provide thorough training and ongoing support for clergy and leaders to ensure that they're equipped to provide pastoral care that's empathetic, supportive, and non-abusive. This is so important, bro, because we don't have enough training for this. Because we like you said, we think that, we're gonna be it's gonna be all good. It's the church, but we don't have training for this, ongoing training and thorough training that hey, pastors, elders, deacons, this can happen.
Yeah.
So we gotta do some prevention. And look, if you see these things happening, provide empathy, provide support.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So this is so important. That's number one.
Now notice I never said connect, don't correct.
Right.
I never said that.
Before you correct.
But before you correct, you have to connect.
Yep. Good point.
Yeah.
Yes, and then we also want to establish boundaries, right? Set clear boundaries for leaders and members, especially regarding personal relationships, and use of authority. Ensure that these boundaries are respected and enforced. So that's another one, right? Accountability. This is huge, bro. Implement a system of checks and balance to hold leaders accountable for their actions.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like you were saying, leaders, man, they take advantage of that. Oh, I'm a pastor or I'm an elder. Y'all ain't gonna touch me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, hold these people accountable.
Yeah.
Right? If they don't do what they do, they're supposed to do, hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Right? That's so important.
Yep.
And then educate members about healthy spiritual practices, discernment in these things, and recognizing signs of spiritual abuse. Like, I would even go deep, like hire a psychiatrist to go and train your church. To be like, hey, this is a sign of that. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't have education in this, unfortunately. And that's what I believe that we can do so we can prevent these things from happening in the church. That's what I feel like the role of the church should do.
Or if you're a psychiatrist, educate your church.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly.
You know, come forward and be like, hey, look, this is how I can help. You know, this is what I've seen. This is the hurt that I've seen with people coming to me in my practice. Let me tell you guys what you can do. Now, what can people do that are hurt by the church?
That's exactly what I was going to. Literally, the next part was the church's role in addressing the church hurt. If somebody got hurt, this is some of the things we can do. Number one, acknowledge them, right? Acknowledge that the church hurt exists and that it is a valid concern, right? Avoid dismissing or ignoring the experiences of individuals who have been hurt. That is so important, brother, because we often sympathize with the perpetrators and neglect or dismiss the feelings of the abuse. I cannot stress this enough, brother. I've had so many young women come up to us and say, we don't even want to come up to you guys. You know why? Because most of the people that we've talked to, they said, oh, you're probably just being sensitive. You know what I'm saying? It's so sad, bro. And I'm just like, I am so sorry you're going through this. Because what we need to do is err on the side of safety. If somebody says, hey, somebody is abusing me, we got to act right away. Because sometimes we're like, I don't know, you're probably just overreacting, girl. You know what I'm saying? And that's why most people, they don't come out and say these things. That's because we don't acknowledge them. So number one of the things that we should do is acknowledge.
Yeah, and that's also something in the world too. Where like a lot of people that are abused in sports and different environments in Hollywood even, they don't come out because it's like, man, first off, that person's too powerful.
Exactly.
Second, they're not going to believe what I say because of who that person is.
That's right.
And so if you look at like a lot of people that get taken down, it's because of testimony from multiple people.
That's right.
That's what happens.
Exactly. Yeah, the Me Too movement type of thing, right? Of course, pastoral care, provide restitution, investigate and discipline. Again, cannot stress that enough. Investigate thoroughly and discipline if you need to, because too often I've seen young women, they say we already went to the church, we went to the board, we went to everybody. They did not discipline. They just allowed it to happen. So therefore they go outside of the church and then go to the police and law enforcement and things like that. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong, you should, but the church should have handled that. You know what I'm saying? They shouldn't have gotten to, go outside of the church to find healing. Apology and reconciliation. The church should apologize to those who have been hurt and actively seek reconciliation with affected individuals when possible. Prevent recurrence. After addressing specific incidents, take steps to ensure the similar situation do not recur in the future by implementing reforms and safeguards. And then open communication. Encourage open dialogue within the church community, allowing members to voice concerns, ask questions, and provide feedback without fear of retribution. Now, go ahead.
Now, that's great, right? What if you're the receiver? How can you help things? Now, here's the thing. There's a powerful saying and it says, you can't fix what you don't know.
Can't fix what you don't know.
And now some people offend you and they didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we all come from different backgrounds, so therefore, there's different feelings and different deliveries with different things. I'm not justifying it. I'm just explaining what happens.
Right.
So, what can we do according to the Bible? Matthew chapter 18. Matthew 18, the Bible gives us counsel on how we can handle these things
right.
if you are a receiver. Notice what it says. Verse 15. If your brother sins against you, right? They come against you, they do something that hurts you. You go and tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you have gained a brother. So watch this. If someone hurts you, go to them and say, hey, I just want to talk to you about this.
Right.
Now, maybe you're thinking, wait, what if they don't listen to me? The Bible got something for that too. Notice verse 16. But if he does not listen, take one or two others along with you, that every charge may be established by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. So he doesn't listen to you? No problem. You tried. Now you go to the next level. You take 2 or 3 other people with you. What happens after that? What if they don't listen then? Guess what? The Bible has counsel. Notice verse 17. If he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. And if he refuses to listen even to the church, let him be to you as a Gentile and a tax collector. What's happening is, if he doesn't listen to you guys as 3 people, go to those board meetings that you were talking about. Go to the church leadership. Go to the top people that put those people in position. Now, I want you to take this with a grain of salt, because if there is sexual abuse involved that is at an extent where law enforcement needs to be involved, then law enforcement needs to be involved.
It has to be.
Right? So this isn't, don't be ignorant or dismissive with this counsel, but also don't go to the point where it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go tell somebody if you were abused in a way that law enforcement needs to be warranted.
Right.
You have to do that.
Got to do that. Yeah. If it has to go that route, do it. Take it. Right. I never recommend anybody to, hey, don't do it. Just focus on the church and let's just do it together as a family and stuff like that. I'm like, no. If they especially, sexually abuse you, take it to the law enforcement.
But many times leading up to that, there's signs that they give before. And I'm not saying every account is like that.
Right.
But many times there's signs before. That's when you can handle that situation this way, where it's like, someone's going to do something that's sexually abusive, and you see them kind of hitting on you already.
Yeah.
Go talk to them and say, brother, check this out. Or whoever it is, sister, whoever it is, lady, look, I don't appreciate that behavior. They continue, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I got to tell someone else.
Yeah.
So
no, good point. And this definitely came to our conclusion, basically the coping and the healing part, right? What can they do? And you kind of touched upon that. And one of the things that I recommend too is, sometimes when the people hurt us, we already holistically leave the church fully, right? And disregard God in a sense, because, oh man, no, I'm not, and God gets all the blame, right? And one of the things that I recommend is, this happened to me personally, bro. Right? This literally happened to me personally. But what I did was, when this happened to me in the church, when I got hurt, bro, I got hurt. I'm not going to go into details, but I understand what you're going through. I really, from the bottom of my heart, I understand what you're going through if you've been hurt by the church, or things like that. But one of the things that I recommend is, don't leave church holistically, but find a different church. Right? Find a different church.
Yeah.
Because that's so important that when we do that, we can find a different church.
Yeah. And also, to wrap this up, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32, it says, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you. Now, I know this may be harder for some of the other people, but you have to understand, you want to forgive because it will benefit your own soul. Holding and harvesting bitterness will not help you. It's actually going to hurt you inside.
And also, I wanted to talk to those who've been hurt by the church. Just remember that Jesus was also hurt by the church. his disciples forsook him, even betrayed him, and even killed by the church. So I just wanted to read this quote to you too as well in Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 15. For we do not have a high priest who cannot sympathize with our weaknesses, but was in all points tempted as we are, yet without sin. So I just wanted to put that out to you, that remember that Jesus is sympathizing with you with everything that you're going through, and he understands you to the utmost. All right. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about this is what is very important not to say to people, because I hear this a lot, right? When people are being hurt by the church and leave the church, right? And some church members say this, and this is so dangerous. It's a dangerous statement. And this statement goes, if being hurt by people in the church causes you to leave the church, then your faith was in people rather than God. So dangerous, right? Because the personal circumstances of those who got hurt and left the church varies. It's different. We don't understand what they're going through. You don't understand literally what happened point by point. And making that statement is definitely just dismissing them and their feelings of what's happening with them, right? So I just wanted to point that out. Like, please do not make that statement to people who are being hurt by the church. So we just wanted to offer resources for individuals as well seeking healing and support. One of the things that I recommend is a book called Hidden Half of the Gospel by Paul Conniff, which talks about how Jesus' suffering and his spiritual abuse can also heal yours. Because remember, like I said, he went through everything that we have been through. And also maybe even seeking a counselor, a coach, a psychiatrist. And also, I wanted to add this to as well. I want you guys even to email us. We'll put our email down there, and we can give some good recommendations and things like that. We want to thank you so much for tuning in, and we would love to encourage you to share your own stories as well, right? Connect with us on our social media platform and even here on YouTube, and we would just love to do that. And remember that you are not alone, right? You are not alone. Calvin and I, we want to make this podcast a safe place for you to talk about this, for us to kind of connect and to really, find out solutions for these things that's happening in this problem. Problem that we're going through.
If you want to share with the community, feel free to put a comment down below, and we will definitely respond to you.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Thank you once again. And then also another episode that you can check out is Jesus is looking for you. God is looking for you. That's a great episode. It'll be pinned up here above. And then also, if you want to partner with us, those of you that would like to partner with us to help us continue to further our opportunities to be able to reach people with the gospel digitally, feel free to contact us. And also, we have a PayPal if you would like to give as well. Everything that you give helps, and we appreciate it. And so thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, peace.